future is now.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to this next episode of the Future is Human podcast. And today I want to talk about being human while delivering a performance management or a performance review. A lot of companies finish this cycle. We're now in 2024. If you're on top of performance management, then you have a system where you're having your consistent one-on-ones on a weekly or monthly basis, depending on the size of your team. You're entering your notes into a portal that you have through the organization or through your own portal that's private and password protected, where you take notes of your conversations. You are constantly following up on promises made to your employees to help with their development. So assuming that those consistent behaviors are in place, let's talk about the performance management conversations and how we can be human in those conversations, more human, and more connected and more compassionate and more inspirational, if you will. So when we're giving performance management, many organizations have the opportunity for the employee to self-evaluate, which I highly encourage. If you don't have that structure, you can actually ask your employee to do that. And then when you meet with them around their review, if they send it in advance, you can actually match up the ratings, you can match up the comments, you can match up the examples, which is very, very effective. If you're already doing that, then you know the power of all of that. So, but when you're having these performance discussions, it's really important that we acknowledge the human side. So, for example, let me use the name Bill for the purpose of this as a role play. Bill, we're here to talk about, this meeting is specifically about performance. And obviously we meet once a month or once every few weeks to talk about performance, but this is specific to your performance review for the year. And so wanting to just talk through your self-evaluation, how I evaluated you, and then just talk more about how do you have all the resources you need? How can I better support you? What are you excited about implementing for goals around your review? So that would be an example of how you'd set it up. And then you want to go to looking at the areas where you were in alignment with them. So Bill, I see that we were aligned that, you are a really great communicator, you're great at conflict negotiation, you're great at customer service. Those are all the things that stand out as you're great at. And here are some specific examples. And the specific examples are critical. It's really important that we have, because otherwise people just take it as, oh yeah, whatever, I'm awesome, or I'm not awesome. But they need those examples in order to link it to the behavior that they want to keep repeating to be successful, but they know that you want them to keep repeating. So it's a conversation around the behaviors. What's working? What could you tweak to be more successful? Where do you need more support? And it's coming from that place. In a previous episode, I talked about, how do mollycoddling and holding hands and babying. Performance management is not about I always set the tone of mutual accountability. It's like, we're here to talk about, your performance and how well you're doing, and also the things that you can improve, and keeping it focused on that while being very human. So it's that combination of heart-centered, compassionate presence with boundaries, goals, expectations, open communication, performance metrics all at play. So it's not one or the other. It's an integrated approach to performance discussions with our team members. So when you're getting to the parts where it's more challenging, like, let's say that in my example of using the name Bill, let's say Bill, struggles with being a team player, and Bill struggles with, he just does things without checking with other people. He's like a, bit of a take charge guy. So the way to approach that would be, you are very successful in these other places, and I see an opportunity for you to increase your teamwork. And this is what I see. What do you feel? How do you feel? Now, for someone that is in that example of, more of a lone wolf, do it themselves and such, that's a tough, I know this one because I was that. It's a tough one because they think they're successful with what they're doing, but they don't know what it means to be more collaborative. So again, we've got to have specific examples. So, and we might even say, for example, that project you did on, equity and diversity was excellent. However, you could have included, did you think about including, these other people? So we're giving them opportunity to think about how they could shift their behaviors for those areas for improvement. And the other piece that's really critical is then setting goals around what they need to improve. So, and then those goals form the basis of your one-on-ones that follow the formal performance management conversation. For me, a performance management conversation, people should, and there's that word should, but we want them to feel inspired by the end, even the difficult ones. And I've delivered many performance evaluations where they were really difficult, but the people did feel inspired at the end because it was all around, here's where you're great, here's the opportunities, here's how we can support you through the opportunities. So it's not, again, if we look at the past in performance reviews, many of them were very punitive. It was like leaders would wait for that annual review and then say, you didn't do this and you didn't do that and you could have, like, not human at all, really more about metrics and what they were doing wrong. And really what we want to focus on here is that supporting what they're doing well, looking for the opportunities, setting goals around the opportunities, and then following through on supporting their goals on the one-on-ones that we have after those performance management conversations. In preparation for performance management conversation, I'm going to share something here that is a human approach that I use, which is I like to really ground myself before I have these conversations. And I do this before all my coach clients as well. So, taking a few moments to just, sit up in a chair, feet on the ground. A lot of times I'll take my shoes off, feet on the ground, arms relaxed, and just doing some mindfulness, either with eyes closed or open, depending on your environment. But for me, often I'll close my eyes. I will ground myself. I'll make sure that I'm kind of clearing my psyche of biases or any triggers that I might have. Like, I want to come into those conversations calm, clear, focused on them, just really and inspiring. So you setting that intention before you have your conversations is super powerful, because it's not a task. Then you're not just rushing into it. You're not like, oh, I got these back-to-back performance conversations. You're centering yourself. You're being present with, you're preparing emotionally and energetically for those conversations. So I believe, in 2024, I think we're going to still see people looking for more work-life balance, and whether that means more remote work or whether that means freelancing, I think that shift in how people want to work is here to stay. But I think even more than that, we're going to see more workers expecting more from their leaders, more, to be better communicators, to be more inspiring, to be able to help them through what they need to learn and grow with. So, as a leader, this either that can scare you and go, I'm not built for this, or you take that as a bring it on. Yes, I want to be good at this. I want to be better at engaging my teams, being present, delivering inspirational, phenomenal performance management discussions. And again, I'll say that anytime we as a leader approach anything to do with humans as a task, then we're not being human. And I want to repeat that. Anytime we approach the things that we need to do as a leader that involves humans and our teams, and we treat it as a task, that is not being human. We're treating it as a checklist off of something that we're supposed to do. For optimized leaders, for self-realized leaders, for leaders who are really going to transform their teams and their workplace and their organization in 2024, being human is not a task. It is an opportunity to connect at a deeper level that creates more meaning, more purpose, and more connectedness for everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and look forward to having you join me for the next episode of the Future is Human podcast.